The gold-embossed invitation lay on my desk, catching the light from the modest lamp in my Cambridge office. Not the penthouse suite at Wilson Ventures, my real workplace, but the small space I maintained as a front for family appearances. The event, my parents' 40th wedding anniversary dinner. The complication, it coincided with a major milestone in my professional life. Bloomberg was set to break the story of my latest acquisition, an $80 million tech startup that would redefine Wilson Ventures' digital portfolio. Not that my family had any idea who Sarah Wilson really was. To them, I was still Sophia Mitchell, the daughter who'd chosen a small consulting firm over the family law empire. My brother Andrew's text buzzed on my phone. "Don't be late. 7 p.m. sharp. Try looking successful for once," Dad invited the senior partners. I smiled as I adjusted my understated black Valentino dress. No logos, no flash, unlike the designer billboards my family preferred to wear. While they built a legacy in law, I had built an empire in venture capital, quietly amassing over $500 million in assets under management. My driver pulled up to the Beacon Hill Club, where the entire top floor had been rented for the event. I spotted Andrew's new Tesla gleaming by the entrance. "Ms. Wilson," James said quietly, using my professional alias, which was, conveniently, my mother's maiden name. "Wait for me nearby. You'll want to see the news alerts around 9. Inside, the club's marble foyer echoed with laughter and polite bragging. Familiar faces from my father's law firm mingled with Boston's legal elite. "Sophia," my mother called across the room, voice warm but tinged with perennial disappointment. "Darling, we weren't sure you'd make it. Still working on that little what-do-you-call-it consulting." I accepted her air kiss, inhaling the familiar notes of her perfume. "Something like that, Mom." "Well, at least you're staying busy," she said, patting my arm as though I were recovering from a long illness. "If only you'd accepted that position at the firm." "We've been through this," I cut in gently. Andrew appeared, all Rolex flash and champagne grin. "Little sister, still playing entrepreneur." "Hello, Andrew," I said, accepting the glass. "How's the firm?" "Dad's naming me managing partner next month," he said proudly. "Youngest ever. Congratulations. By the way, the offer still stands. Junior associate. You'd have to climb the ladder, of course, but it's better than whatever it is you're doing." I sipped my drink, imagining the headlines soon to hit the airwaves. "I'm happy where I am." "Happy isn't the same as successful." My father's voice chimed in behind me. He looked exactly as he always did, distinguished, composed, and critical. "Hi, Dad. Happy anniversary. You could have worn the Gucci I got you for Christmas. This is more my style." "Yes," he sighed. "That's always been the problem, hasn't it?" The room filled quickly. Judges, partners, influential clients, all gathered to toast 40 years of marriage and legal domination. A senior partner approached, drink in hand. "Quite the turnout, Richard. The whole legal community's here." My father beamed. "William, have you met my daughter?" "The lawyer?" "No. That's Andrew. This is Sophia. She has a small consulting business." William's interest faded on cue. "Speaking of business," he said, "have you heard about that Wilson Ventures deal? Rumor is they're announcing a massive acquisition tonight. Sarah Wilson's making waves." Another voice chimed in. "No one even knows what she looks like. Goldman handles their major contracts," my father added dismissively. "I chose his firm for minor contracts, specifically so no one would dig too deeply into who ran Wilson Ventures." Andrew cut in again, unable to resist the spotlight. "Wait until you hear about the merger I just closed, biggest in firm history." I glanced at my phone. 1 hour to go. Dinner was announced with the usual flourish. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet, tables lined with fine wine and gourmet fare. My father stood a toast. 40 years ago, I married the love of my life. Together, we built not just a family but a legacy. Applause. And that legacy continues. Our son Andrew, soon to be managing partner. More applause. And our daughter Sophia, he added after a beat, who took a different path. A small business owner. Admirable in its own way. Silence. Again, the quiet disappointment. "Really, Sophia," my mother whispered. "Must you be on your phone?" "Just waiting for something," I said. "Another client?" Andrew snickered. "Something like that." He leaned in, loud enough for nearby tables. Pretty sure the firm's junior associate salary triples your annual income. Probably, I said. But I'm part of something much bigger. Oh, your 3-person office in Cambridge. No, I said. Much, much bigger. My father scoffed. Sophia, not everyone is built for high-stakes business. There's no shame in staying small. I rose from my seat. Excuse me, I need to take a call. Now, my mother hissed. Trust me, I said. You'll want me to. As I walked to the hallway, Andrew's voice followed. Just a small business owner trying to play with the big kids. I turned back. You might want to turn on CNBC, brother dear. Right on cue, breaking news alerts lit up my phone. Wilson Ventures acquires Tech Fusion for $80 million. Sarah Wilson strikes again. New deal reshapes VC landscape. Mystery CEO expands digital empire. From inside the dining room, I heard gasps. A TV on someone's phone. Breaking news, the anchor's voice echoed. And just like that, the Mitchells realized their underestimated daughter had outplayed them all. The room fell silent, save for the crisp voice of a CNBC anchor cutting through the soft murmur of clinking glasses and low conversation. In a stunning move, venture capital powerhouse Wilson Ventures has acquired AI startup Tech Fusion for $80 million. Sarah Wilson, the enigmatic CEO behind the $500 million empire, continues to reshape the landscape of tech investments. I stepped back into the banquet hall as heads turned, phones buzzed, and screens lit up. On 3 of them, my professional headshot filled the frame. Captioned simply, Sarah Wilson, CEO Wilson Ventures. Andrew choked on his wine. My father's anniversary toast froze in his throat. Around us, the elite of Boston's legal community stared, jaws slack, eyes wide. My mother's voice was the first to break the stunned silence. Barely a whisper. Sophia, what is this? I returned to my seat with the same calm I wore all evening, lifting my wine glass like nothing had changed. Just another update from my small business. Chaos bloomed in slow motion. Law partners who had dismissed me minutes earlier suddenly leaned in. Judges who hadn't bothered with eye contact were now hanging on my every breath. You're Sarah Wilson? William, the senior partner, sputtered. But that's impossible. Wilson Ventures is worth over $500 million, I said, finishing his sentence for him. Give or take. They never asked about my mother's maiden name, or noticed the quiet offices they thought so quaint. That was always the point. Andrew's face had gone pale. You were running that firm all this time while we thought. Yes, I said simply. That was the idea. If any of you had actually stepped foot in my little Cambridge office, you might have seen the truth. My father finally found his voice. Why wouldn't you tell us? I met his eyes evenly. Would you have believed me? Have you ever believed I was capable of anything beyond a modest consulting gig? He said nothing, just stared down at his phone, still aglow with headlines about the woman he didn't know was his daughter. You're one of the top venture capitalists in the country, he said, more to himself than to me. Yes, and I did it without the Mitchell name, without your approval, without your network. My mother's hands trembled as she reached for her water glass. Darling, if we had known. What? I asked gently. You would have respected me? Treated me like more than the daughter who didn't want to wear Gucci to family dinners. The quartet had stopped. Every eye in the Beacon Hill Club was on our table. Andrew tried to rally. All those small contracts Wilson Ventures gave us were a convenience, I finished. Just enough to keep you close, but not close enough to start asking questions. And by the way, your firm overbills terribly for basic contract work. William leaned in, eyes bright with newfound interest. Now that we know who you really are, Sarah, we should talk about bringing your major deals to Mitchell and Associates. No, I said sharply. I don't mix family and business. That boundary was made very clear when I declined your junior associate offer. My father winced. Sophia, please, he said. Maybe we can. What? Pretend the last decade didn't happen? That you weren't just apologizing to guests for my different path? The room had become something else entirely. A spotlight, not a celebration. My phone buzzed incessantly with alerts, interviews, invitations. I silenced it without looking. I just don't understand, my mother whispered. All these years, that small apartment, the old car. Because I don't measure success by what I show off, I replied. You build a life to impress. I built a company to endure. Andrew stood, shaken. I need a drink. No, I said firmly. Sit. For once in your life, listen to your little sister. He did. Tomorrow, the markets will open, and Wilson Ventures' stock will climb. Clients will call your firm asking about your connection to me. People will want to know how the Mitchells produced Sarah Wilson. My father looked up, his pride and regret indistinguishable. And what should we tell them? The truth, I said, standing. That you didn't know. That while you were building a law firm, I was building something bigger. Without your help, without your blessing. I straightened the skirt of my simple, unbranded Valentino. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. The dinner was lovely. Wait, my mother said, her voice cracking. Please, can we talk about this as a family? I paused. We are talking. For the first time in years, you're listening. Isn't it amazing what $500 million can do for a conversation? I left the room to stunned silence. Outside, James waited by the car. He smiled knowingly. Home, Miss Wilson. I glanced at my phone. 47 missed calls. No, I said. To the office. The real one. The next morning, I sat in the corner office of Wilson Ventures, sunlight washing over the Boston skyline. Our stock was up 15%. My assistant buzzed in. Your father, brother, and 3 senior partners from Mitchell and Associates are in the lobby. I smiled. Tell them I'm in a meeting. They can book an appointment like everyone else. And your mother? She's called 6 times. Shall I take a message? I leaned back, hands folded. Tell her I'm busy. Running a small business takes time. I turned toward the window, the city below reflecting all I had built while they were watching. My phone vibrated. A text from Andrew. Can we talk? Please. I had no idea. I typed back. Neither did anyone else. That was the point. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's succeeding so completely, so quietly, that by the time they realize who you really are, it's too late to pretend they always believed in you.